and now we're live as well on Facebook. Thanks for joining us once again. I'm Luke.
I'm Gabriel.
And this is Clinical Trial Talk. So, what are we going to talk about today? Very quickly, if I was searching up on Google, as you do, Australian clinical trials, and I came across something that I thought was quite interesting, which was, actually, no, hang on a second, there we go, into that.
Yeah.
And what I noticed was that Google has, those questions that they put up that, people also ask to know these questions. And so, and look, I can post this if I really want to, the screenshot.
Oh, yeah.
People also ask, can I get paid for the typical questions,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Can I get paid for clinical trials?
Okay.
And I'm assuming they mean to be participating in clinical trials. Being paid for, if you're getting paid to be on a trial, that can be a little bit of a tricky topic. The short answer is yes. The long answer is kind of.
Yes, that's right. So I think payment, what a typical person might consider payment in the clinical trials industry, we often refer to it as reimbursement. So it's reimbursement for time and travel expenses.
Yep. So, I mean, well, when we go to an ethics committee and we get something approved, normally they like to differentiate between reimbursement per se, which is obviously to cover for time and travel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually more for travel really, and for inconvenience,
I suppose. I think there's a time component.
They do have a payment component.
Yeah,
definitely, they've got a payment component, which is to do with probably a time issue.
Yeah.
And maybe to do with some of the risk potentially, or inconvenience, I should say.
Yeah,
Don't quote me on that one. But the point of that is that reimbursement is something that you can't get taxed on, whereas payment, that starts to have other implications about whether it's taxable income and whatnot.
Right.
So also you need to be well aware that ethics committees don't like the idea of people being induced to be on trials for money.
Yes, that's right. So they always make sure, or they should always make sure, that the amount of money that's being offered as part of a trial is not enough to induce someone into participating where they otherwise wouldn't have, which is...
Is induce the right word? Maybe coerce.
Coerce?
I think is what they tend to talk about. Coercion. It's not meant to be coercive. Induce, I mean, well, yeah, I think coercion
is too good to refuse, basically.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and I think that's a bit of an issue. That's a big issue, actually, that needs to be talked more about.
I think, yeah, so I'm pretty wary of clinical trials that are offering more money than I would usually expect. Like,
that's
what I
often
mean?
what the ethics committee, when they're reviewing it, will look at.
Yeah. So if it's a really short trial, like, maybe if it only takes an hour visit and you're getting paid something like, $100 or $200.
Yeah.
That's a kind of trial where I think, well, it's a great deal for me, but it's not supposed to be about being good value or not. It's really supposed to be about, you only get enough to make sure that you cover the time and transport that you would have otherwise used up to get there. So it's really the amount of money that you get is supposed to make you break even with participation in clinical trial. You're not supposed to come out on top, I suppose.
Or be out of pocket.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that covers that to a point, but I mean, the main point is as well that I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah.
And anyway, there's some more questions there, but I think one question will do for the day.
Yeah. True. One other thing I'd like to add regarding payment, it's interesting because not always are you allowed to advertise how much the reimbursement is on the ad itself, right?
That's true. So it depends what the actual clinical trial is in terms of, you're talking about promoting a clinical trial.
Yes, that's right.
So promoting a clinical trial shouldn't really flash alarm bells as, hey, this is cash in hand for this.
Yes.
It's more to be something that's understood at a later point.
Yes. But then that can add to the confusion, like this question is asking, maybe some people
Well,
don't know whether they get money
That's
or
a big
not,
issue.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because
Well,
it's not advertised up front.
in some cases, there's apps in the States, for example, that help people to identify which clinical trials pay better,
Yeah.
where they can get money, which it's not really what it's all about.
No, that's
Although having said that, there's healthy volunteer studies and things like that, which, people wouldn't, unless, this is the balance, right, between the risk and what you're getting involved with. It's about whether or not, we're getting a few waves on Insta. Hey guys, say hi. Where's all the waves on Facebook? Facebook versus Insta.
Facebook has the likes.
So I just had a good one too. Stop waving. But there was the point is that, people have an ethos or a desire to improve research and do good, right?
Right.
What's the word? There's a word for that. Anyway, it'll come up to me later. Live isn't going to get all the good stuff. but there's a balance between. What's the word? If anyone could put the word in the comment, that'd be pretty good. But doing good and wanting to do something good for research. So there's that altruistic approach, okay, and then there's the cash-based approach, and then there's also I've got no other options, so I need to potentially access the treatment.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be a balance between those three, and it shouldn't really be so much the money part, even though the reality is that it often is, but it's not meant to be.
Well,
and it's a really contentious issue.
The fact that it is the strongest motivator for a lot of people is exactly why ethics is so careful about.
That's right.
About that.
Yeah. And so, if you've seen any clinical trials which you think are paying too much or not enough, or what you think about payment generally, let us know. It can be a bit of a dividing topic.
Yes, definitely.
And maybe we'll be able to get someone on here from an ethics committee to speak their method.
That's a very good idea.
And at what point? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks.
We've got to move forward with other aspects, but wave to everyone there. Shout outs to Mr. Happy, Chemistry Lover 2, Research Your Health, Save Sonia Evans, Sonia Evans. Wave to you guys. And shout outs to anyone that watched us on Facebook after the fact. Hit like and subscribe and all the good stuff. This is Luke.
Gabriel again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining.